for the Russians to come attack. That was the greatest fear. But we spent all our time preparing for an attack from the Russians. And throughout history, going back to Napoleon, Julius Caesar, and all Attila the Hun, and all these other dudes, the Fulda Gap is the way that everybody moved their armies because it was the terrain was compatible to move large forces. Everything else was kind of mountainous and forest and stuff. This was like a plain, so everybody attacked. So we were right there. I was 10 minutes from the border. We always had, for a period of 3 years, we had to remain readiness, so that within a half an hour we had to not only wake up and go get ready and report for duty and get ready to defend ourselves against the Russians. Anyway, long story. Got some great beer stories about that. How I was interrupted on a hot date once at a restaurant. To go fight, to go get ready for the Russians, blah, blah, blah. Some great stories. I'll go toe-to-toe with David Wood and his vacuum cleaner salesman stories. I can top him anytime. Anyway, they had just started the volunteer army. This is, again, before your time. Before that, there was a draft, so they got some pretty quality guys in the army, but they stopped the draft right when I got in. Why am I telling you this? Because the guys that I had to manage, my first job was to manage 40 guys. All of them were told by a judge, you either go to jail for 50 years or join the army, because they, various drug deals, murders, rapes, garden variety, thieves, criminals, the works. And this is the kind of people that I had, and I was a 21-year-old college graduate in charge of Alcatraz type caliber people, basically, and just trying to defend Western Europe against the Russian onslaught. Man, what a challenging job that was. So talk about green behind the ears. So why am I telling you that? Because I learned how to lead, I learned how to manage, I learned how to do with limited resources. Okay, got out of the army after 5 years. We traveled around. By the way, every job I had in the army. They train you for a particular specialty. Well, there's a 6-month school, and subsequently they never assigned me to that specialty. So every job I had in the army was something I had no training for whatsoever. And they said, "That's all right. You'll figure it out. No problem. You and the 30 jailbirds that you have, you'll figure it out." Anyway, so you had to friggin' figure it out to survive. So why am I telling you this? Because I think it's, it parallels this, the internet marketing world for me. You got to figure it out. So every lieutenant or captain that I had followed in whatever job they had, I was notified that they were all fired because they couldn't do the job. In one case, I was in charge of this one particular job. The previous 6 guys, none of them lasted 3 months because they were all deemed to be incompetent. It was maintaining 250 trucks. Now here's the irony: I can't even change my own friggin' oil in my car. As you probably noticed, I'm not mechanically inclined. You know what I'm saying? And here I am in charge of 250 trucks and a team of 30 convicts to maintain them. All the trucks, by the way, older than the convicts. Most of them have been blown up 50 times and repaired. And the Army's philosophy is to keep them rolling, baby. We just can't buy a new truck every time one breaks. You got to fix it, unless it's completely totaled, which the criteria was extremely, massively destroyed. Anyway, I've survived in that job for a year. The previous 6 guys, 3 months max. Me, not knowing how to change my own oil. So what does that tell you? Anyway, the key is management and leadership. You don't have to know the skills. You have to be able to organize. You have to be able to manage. You have to be able to figure out who you can trust and put them in charge, kind of like you're doing right here with this insider group. Anyway, that's why I'm telling you all that. Hope you're still awake. Anyway, from there I went to it was very difficult to transition from a military job because you're kind of in an enclosed world where you don't really have any interface with what they called the economy or civilian life. And so how do you transition from a job where you're used to shooting bad guys into a real life job? Anyway, a friend of mine set me up with a defense contractor, and I got a job managing the board stuffing. This is back in the 80s. We had to assemble circuit boards with parts and solder them and all this, and ultimately they went into the Patriot missile. I don't know if you are old enough to remember the Iraq War, the first Iraq War. There was it was the Gulf War at the time when we first attacked, and the Patriot missile was the thing that we built. We had the largest factory